I would like to call the meeting to order. The following members of the board are held over. We're going to do roll call. Mrs. Jill Denon. Here. Ms. Ruth Deeroff. Here. And Mr. Brandon Foose.
Here.
Oh, wait.
Okay, try it now. I just turned on.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to ask you to please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence as we reflect on those serving in the United States Armed Forces, both past and present, the elected leaders for the state of Pennsylvania and elected leaders of our nation. We have much to be thankful for in our community. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. The annual reorganization meeting of the Boyertown Area School District Board of Directors, as required by the Pennsylvania School Code of 1949, will be held Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019 in the Boyertown Area School District Education Center, 911 Montgomery Avenue, Boyertown, PA, at 7 o'clock p.m. At this time, is there anyone signed up for public public? No. All right, public comment, yes. There is no one signed up to speak this evening. All right. So at this time, I would like to call for nominations. Excuse me? Oh, nomination for election of a temporary president. I'm sorry. At this time, I would like to call for nominations. Do I need to read the rest of that? Okay. Mr. Foose?
I'd like to nominate Jill Denon.
No second is required. A motion to close the nominations and cast a ballot in favor of Jill Denon to act as temporary president would be in order.
Motion to close.
That requires a second.
Second? I'll second it.
Okay. And then all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Jill Denon is now the temporary president. Actually, not yet. We're going to be seating the new board members at this point.
So now we're going to have the administration of the oath of office for the new board members.
I just want the record to note that the board secretary's office has received certificates of election for all of the newly elected board members. And if so, just please note that for the record. Is that the case? Have we received the certificates of election?
Yes.
Okay. We can do a collective oath of office or a singular oath of office. This may be your biggest executive decision as the temporary president of the board.
Okay. I don't know. We didn't ask anyone if they have a preference. So, okay, why don't we, since there's 6 people, why don't we all stand up, the 6 people who are taking the oath?
Tell them to come forward.
Please come forward. And if you have someone that you're going to bring with you, please bring them with you. If you have a Bible and you'd like to put your hand on the Bible, you may do that as well. Yep, right there is fine. Okay. I will. You can say, yeah, I just, yeah, I have, so is that what I'm gonna, yeah. Okay. So if you can just repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth, and that I will discharge my duties of my office with fidelity. Okay. So we have, I just want to say all the names because we didn't have an opportunity to do that. So we have Ms. Christine Nyman, Mr. James Brophy, Mr. Brian Hemingway, Mrs. Lisa Hogan, Mrs. Melody McWhirter, Mr. Roger Updegrove, and that's it. And we have received all your certificates, so you may be seated.
At the board table.
At the board,
Take your seat
oh,
at
we
the
don't
board.
have, yeah, we don't have,
You don't have any spot yet. So.
yeah. Okay,
So now you're going to take
where are we?
the temporary
I went
president
to-
preside over the election of a president to hold office for the ensuing year. Calling,
Okay, hold on.
the winners.
Okay. Nominations, the election of president. Lucy, I can start signing it.
Signature of person administering the oath.
Okay, we'll give everybody a second to get seated.
Can you have me Miss Hiddens, please? And Jackie.
Sorry, I have all my stuff there.
So now you're going to preside
Okay.
over the president
Okay, right, okay.
to hold the office for the ensuing year.
Thank you. Thanks. Just, you can start on the floor. All right. Now we are going to have nominations and election of the board president. So do I have any nominations for board president? Mrs. Hogan?
I nominate Brandon Foos.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Nominate Christine Lyman.
Okay. Any others? Mr.
I
Upker?
nominate Christine Nyman.
Okay, so you want a second that?
No, you don't have to second it.
You don't?
You know,
Okay.
it's not required. So both names thus far would be in nomination.
Okay. Do I need a second?
No, and now you need, if somebody wants to close the nominations,
Oh, Ms. Deere. Okay, Mrs. Deere closes the nominations.
and that requires a second.
Ms. Nyman had her hand up, okay. Okay, so second by Ms. Nyman.
And that would be all those in favor
Okay.
to close.
All those in favor to close, say aye. Okay, nominations are closed, and we're going to have a vote. So we're gonna have someone roll call that?
Not a roll call, no.
Okay.
Correct.
It
Let's
is a
go
roll
around.
call. It is
We
a
have
roll
to
call
go
because
around.
two choices for the position, so that's the only way we
Okay,
can do it.
roll call, but not an action. All right, am I going through?
Yes, I guess someone has to go through.
All right. I'm just gonna go
Just go
over.
around the room.
Yeah. Yeah. Mrs. Deroff? Mr. Brophy, I'm sorry. Mrs. Nyman?
Ms. Nyman.
Mr. Foos?
Mr. Foos.
And we have Mrs. McWhirter?
Brandon Foos, Mr. Foos.
Okay. Ms. Hogan?
Mr. Foos.
Mr. Updegrove?
Mrs. Nyman.
And Mr. Hemingway?
Mr. Foos.
And Mrs. Denon?
Mr. Foos.
Okay. Mr. Foos has been nominated 5-4.
He's actually been elected.
Okay.
Elected.
Elected. So Mr. Foos is elected, and you may take your seat here, and I will switch with you.
Hopefully my job's done soon. Thanks. Check and make sure she signed them all.
I'd like to call for nominations for Vice President. Ms. Denon.
I nominate Mrs. McWhirter.
Mr. Brophy. Mr. Updegrove.
Mrs. Nyman.
I'll make a motion to close nominations.
Motion by Ms. Denon and seconded by Ms. Hogan. Nominations are closed.
All those in favor?
Oh, sorry. All those in favor?
Roll
Anyone
call vote.
opposed?
You don't need a roll call.
Right,
Now there's a roll.
right, roll call vote, that's where I was going. No, I was jumping ahead. All right, Mr. Hemingway
Melly.
and Mr. Updegrove
Nyman.
and Ms. Hogan,
Mrs. McWhirter.
Ms. McWhirter,
Mrs. McWhorter.
Mrs. Denon,
Mrs. McWhorter.
Mrs. Nyman,
Ms. Nyman.
and Mr. Brophy, Mrs. Deroff, and Mr. Foos.
Mrs. McWhirter.
Okay. Mrs. McWhorter has been elected as the vice president, 5-4.
So now we have the two vacated BCTC seats. We have a representative and an alternate. And I'd like to open that up to nominations if anybody wants to. Do we need a motion for that?
I'd like to nominate Roger Updegrove.
Mr. Hemingway?
I'll second. For Up the Grove.
Are there any other nominations?
To close nominations.
Second from Ms. Hogan.
Because there's only one nominee, we can do a motion to approve the closure of the nominations and to cast a ballot in favor of Mr. Updegrove to be the IU representative in that fashion. BCTC, excuse me. Yeah, somebody can make a motion to that effect.
Mr. Brophy,
I second.
second from Ms. McWhorter.
All those in favor?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Okay, so similarly, we need an alternate. Can this be by appointment?
You have a choice of proposing someone, or you could do the same process you just did.
But it isn't, it's not via presidential appointment, it's via board action.
So, like to, would anybody like to make a motion to open up the nominations? Ms. McWhorter, second. Mr. Brophy?
Yes.
I'd like to nominate Christine Nyman.
I'll second that.
Motion to close? Okay. Motion to close, Ms. McWhorter. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Brophy?
Since there's only one, we don't even need to make another motion. We can just say, just put this to vote and cast a unanimous ballot in favor of Ms. Nyman to be the alternative representative. So we can just move forward in that fashion if there's no objection, and you can say all those in favor.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the authorization of the use of the signature stamp until a new one is received. So I request a motion to authorize the use of the existing signature stamp until a new one is prepared reflecting the board's new officers.
Denon moves.
All right, Ms. Tenden moves. Is there a second?
Roger, second.
Mr. Updegrove seconds.
This would prevent the the new officers from handwriting all of the checks of the school district until the new signature stamp is prepared.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, you guys have it. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is committee appointments. So we have 3 acting committees at this time. So are we doing those? We're doing the appointments right now?
Yes, now that's done, that's up to you. That's done via presidential appointment, and you can solicit interest in advance, and at the next regularly scheduled meeting, you can announce who your appointees are.
Yes, that's my preference. So if any of the sitting board members have an interest in chairing one of the 3 existing committees, please send your interest to me via email, and we will discuss that at the next meeting. Yes.
Just clarification for the audience, Boyertown is operated more so as a committee of the whole, so it says committee appointments, but the discussion that Mr. Fruce just outlined is for the chairs of those committees. We will, to make it more clear to the members, send you out a communication of what those are, to make sure you know what they are, so you can get your thoughts to the president as soon as possible. So you'll get that no later than tomorrow, to make sure everyone is aware of the 3 committees that we have.
All right, the next item on the agenda is board comments. Are there any board comments? Ms. McWhorter?
I'd just like to congratulate everybody on the elections, and I look forward to working with you all.
Ms. Hogan?
I just want to echo Mrs. McWhorter's comment and congratulate everyone. I do look forward to working with everyone. Thank you.
I would likewise
Rodrigo.
to
to everybody on the committees and the board. I appreciate this, and I will take this with honor. And I'm proud to serve Boyertown Area School District.
I do look forward to the next 4 years.
So-
It's been, I think it's a lot to do here, a lot to get done, and I think we got the right people to do it.
I appreciate the kind words. Please be sure to be called on before we speak. Are there any other board comments? Okay. Mr. Hemingway?
I would just like to echo a great thank you, and it is an honor to be here, and I look forward to a lot of time together and collaboratively doing a positive impact on our district.
All right, well, it is fitting just after Thanksgiving that so many people are thankful for their new positions. I do appreciate everybody who ran and is now seated, and I look forward to working with the new board. There were a lot of challenges in the past 2 years. I believe we've made a great deal of progress, and I hope that progress continues and that we can work well together in a respectful way. And having been a lifelong resident of Boyertown and growing up near the middle school west, Boyertown Elementary, and the high school, the heart of Boyertown has been my own heart for a long time, and so it's a privilege and an honor to be here and to be working with all of you. And I hope that in the spirit of one Boyertown, we can all work together across the vast 98 square miles of our district and work toward progress for the students of this area. All right, I'll do that before we close. So the next on the agenda is superintendent's comments.
Just want to remind each of the new board members to make sure you see Mrs. Moyer before you leave, so we can get your picture taken. And for the board members that are here that just left, thank you for your service also. And you will be receiving your picture sent to you so that you can have that as a appreciation for your service with a certificate of appreciation. And I'll just close by saying looking forward to working with the new board. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is public comment 2. We do have one person signed up, and I don't want to make a habit of this. We have a long statement that is typically read. However, I'm fairly certain that the person signed up is familiar with this, so I will not read that this time. Ms. Donahue Savage?
Thank you very much. Yes, I think I can abide by those rules tonight. So congratulations to the new board, and for the board as a whole, I wish you the very best in governing our district and maintaining and improving upon the standard of education that Boyertown is accustomed to, a very high standard, while facing the changing world and the financial pressures. It's a hard job, but I know you can do it. Congratulations to Mr. Foos to being elected to the board president. This is the second time in 10 years from my tenure that 5 new board members were elected. And I was the board president that first year. And it's okay, Mr. Foos. It's a year, in addition to the work you're doing, it's a year of getting to know each other, establishing operating guidelines, and finding common ground. So congratulations. So because I work in the field of knowledge management in my career, I feel that it's very important to share your knowledge. And so I wanted to just share a couple of best practices and lessons learned with you tonight. This folder that I brought up here is a folder that I created in December 2009, and I still have it. And this was my guide. This job is very challenging, and you will be challenged. Your values will be challenged. Your ideals will be challenged. Your ideas will be challenged. And so what I did before I started was I created this folder, and you can see there's writing in here. This was something I always wanted in front of me, and it was really what I saw as my ideal for the board and what I believed about the board, that we could be collaborative and that If we work together, we would have synergy, which means you can accomplish so much more than the 9 individuals of you can accomplish, and that we could be innovative. And then values and principles for myself. And that was like to be honest and to keep a focus and to ask questions and be strategic rather than in the weeds or tactical. And then in this folder, I kept things that were important to me. And they were things like maybe the school calendar and the board calendar and lists of people that with contact information. But two tools that you have now that we did not have all of these 10 years are 2 policies that I think you should keep very close to your hearts and your eyes as you think through everything that you do. One is our policy 101, which is our district vision, mission, and goals. Everything that you do should be relatable to that. And the second one
30 seconds.
is policy 011, which is the principles for governance and leadership, and it's based on PSBA effective guidelines. So I wanted you to tell you that. I also always kept in here a list of things I came in with that I wanted to do, but I quickly learned that some of those things would never be done, and some needed time to be done. So if you come in with ideas, which you should, bring your ideas, but never be naive enough or arrogant enough to believe that you have nothing to learn.
Time's up.
Thank you so much.
So next we have announcements, and I feel like now's a good time to make the announcement to the board members that the principles for governance and leadership that were just mentioned, there is a poster at the front here. If the board members would sign that, we have the previous board and those who signed it hanging up here. I believe we'll be doing the same for the new board. So if you'd like to give that a read and apply your signature, that would be appreciated. So as far as upcoming meetings, we have a meeting next week on the 10th. Is that here as well? So it'll be here at the Education Center at 7 o'clock, and all of our meetings are posted on the BASD website calendar. So with that, we will adjourn this meeting. Call for adjournment. Ms. Nyman, second. Ms. McWhirler, second. All right, we are adjourned.